This 6'9" defender with Hall of Fame chase down artist is probably one of the best builds I've used for defense on NBA 2K24. This build is not going to be a liability on offense either because you get the best jump shot in the game on this build. But with all of that out of the way, man, let's get started with today's video. Let's go. All right, so for this build, you can realistically make it at 3 different positions. You can make it at small forward, power forward, or center, but we're going to be going with the height 6'9", weight 228 pounds with a 7'4" wingspan. And starting things off in the finishing, we're honestly not going to have a whole lot on this build. We're going to go over this very quickly. We do get a 65 driving dunk, which is going to get you the athletic hangs off one, which is a very good dunk package. You also get packages like Klay Thompson as well on this build, which again are very good. And you're also going to have a 45 standing dunk, which is going to get you the basic standing dunk animations in this game, which are very nice to have on a build, especially with low dunk rating. And now moving on to the shooting, we're going to have an 87 mid-range shot on this build, as well as an 83-point shot. And with that 87 mid-range shot, you're going to unlock the best jump shot base in the game, which is Tracy McGrady. If you're not using Tracy McGrady, or if you have not used Tracy McGrady yet, it is definitely by far the best jump shot. You cannot get contested with using this base. And then with having that super high midi, you're also going to get badges like Midi Magician on gold, as well as Catch and Shoot on gold, which are a bunch of really great shooting badges to have on this type of build. And now moving on to the shooting highlights, and you're going to be able to do a lot on this build when it comes to shooting. You're going to be a knockdown shooter from the three-point line, especially when you equip my jump shot, which I will be showing you guys later on this video, and make sure you guys stick around to see that as well. But you're going to be able to hit a variety of different shots on this build. You're actually going to be able to hit shots consistently off of the dribble, especially in the mid-range area with that high midi, because you do get, again, Midi Magician on gold, as well as badges like Open Looks on gold. So once you equip a really good dribble pull-up like Kobe Bryant, Pro 2, or Kevin Durant, you're really going to be a dangerous player in the mid-range area, especially if you get a matchup like a bigger center on you, like a 7-footer that just can't really guard you on the perimeter like that, which I always think is a super funny thing when it comes to the whole mismatch argument that comes up when I usually make builds like this that can play the 4 or the 5 as a 6'9" build. I usually always have people that play as 7-foot center saying, oh, I can dog this build, I'll grab 20 rebounds a game. But I hope you understand, on this year's game specifically, shorter players are so much better at the power forward and center positions than the big 5s, like your 7-foot, 7'1", 7'2" centers. They're just not as good as they have been in previous years, and the gap between the abilities of like a 6'8", 6'9" center and a 7-foot center have definitely closed up a lot. When it comes to the defensive versatilities, the switch capabilities of 6'9s and 6'8s, you could pretty much guard 1 through 5 on these type of builds. If you're a popper and you like putting shooting on your big man builds, you're just going to be at so much better jump shots on these 6'8 and 6'9 builds. And then when it comes to the rebounding and defending aspect of these builds, again, you're going to be more versatile. You can guard faster players. And then when it comes to the bigs this year, mashing is really dead in this game. There's no real way to mash in this game when it comes to just spamming close shot, unlike previous years. And then when it comes to the rebounding aspect of things, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, and this is definitely one of the most overlooked things when it comes to rebounding, and I've definitely learned this a lot more while playing competitive pro-am this year. Boxing out matters more than anything else, bro. If you're on a 6'8 or a 6'9 backend and you have box out beast on either gold or Hall of Fame, and you secure the box out on the big that you're trying to box out on every single possession, you're going to get the rebound 9 times out of 10. It does not matter what their ratings are. It does not matter what their height is. You're going to get the board. And then lastly, as you guys have seen throughout this video so far, these big centers cannot guard a 6'8 or a 6'9 like this in the mid-range area. But now, speaking of shooting, take a look at the jump shot. This is the jump shot I am using on this build. Base is going to be Tracy McGrady. Upper release 1, Troy Brown Jr. Release 2 is going to be Kyle Korver. You see the blend. Tracy McGrady is by far the best jump shot in this game. If anybody tells you there's a better jump shot, they're absolutely lying to you. All right, so now moving on to the playmaking, you're going to get a 75 pass accuracy on this build, which is going to get you break starter on silver, as well as access to 2 passing styles, which include Domantas Sabonis and John Morant. Me personally, I really do not use either of those passing styles, and I just stick with none when I'm using builds with only a 75 pass ac. Now moving on to the ball handle and speed with ball, you're going to have 40 on both of these ratings. Now this is one of the most overlooked things when it comes to playmaking. The SIGs that you get with 40 ball handle, which include your normal dribble SIGs, are by far the best that you can get at such a low rating. This is what allows me to do all the speed boosts that you guys see throughout my videos, and the normal dribble style allows you to move to the offhand very fast when dribbling. All right, so now moving on to the playmaking highlights, and listen, 75 pass accuracy is actually very good, and like you saw in that first clip right there, that is another example of the good speed boost that I get when having the normal dribble SIGs equipped. Usually that is just the same side speed boost that I use by doing the normal hesitation. So whenever you're standing still, or if you're in a triple threat, you could just flick to your ball hand and you just basically run after that and get a really insane speed boost that allows you to get explosive on builds with a low ball handle rating. And again, man, the playmaking on these builds are very good. 75 pass accuracy is perfectly fine. Sure, it's not 90. Sure, it's not like a high 80s, but 75 is good. I personally, if you want a build that is going to be decent at playmaking, I wouldn't go lower than a 75. Maybe you can go down to 70 70, or I believe it's 69, I think is a good pass accuracy rating. But again, man, 75 is actually a really good spot, especially if you're playing the 4 or the 5 and you want to get break starter on at least silver. And one thing that I would like to mention as well is that with how good shooting has gotten, or basically how easy shooting has gotten, especially at this point in the year, I do not think having badges like Dimer or Post Playmaker are super necessary on these type of builds. I mean, honestly, you just can't get Post Playmaker on this build in the first place. But again, I don't think badges like Dimer and stuff like that are necessary to have. And now here are all the animations I was using on this build, and just a quick reminder, some of these animations you guys might not have access to just yet because I have hit starter 3. So a good example of this would be the Kevin Durant dribble pull-up. That is not available to everyone. That is only available to people that hit the starter 3 rep. Pretty much everything else that you guys can see on this screen right here is available for you guys to use on this build, and they're the best animations that I recommend. All right, so now moving on to the defense on this build, and as you're going to see, it is a very defensive oriented build. You're going to get a 77 interior defense, which is going to get you anchor on gold once you also have the block to a high enough rating. You're also going to get an 87 perimeter defense on this build, which is going to get you badges like clamps on silver as well as challenger on gold, which is definitely going to help you get way better jump shot contests and help people miss more shots when you're challenging them on the perimeter. Then moving on to the steal, you're going to get an 85, which is going to get you a bunch of really great badges, which include interceptor, right stick ripper, and glove on silver. Moving on to your block, you're going all the way up to a 94, so you can get that chase down artist on Hall of Fame with this build, as well as getting gold anchor. Then moving on to the rebounding, you're going to have a 92 defensive rebound to get you rebound chaser on gold, as well as a 71 offensive rebound, just so you can secure some boards on the offensive end. But now let's get to the defense on this build, and man, you are going to be able to do everything on the defensive end on this build. Get passing lane steals, get on ball steals, clamp people on the perimeter, clamp people in the paint, secure rebounds. Anything you need to do defensively, you can do at a high level on this build. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, that 94 block is looking kind of nice. Now let me just kind of elaborate, because there's a lot of things that go into blocks, especially in this year's game, especially with a lot of the narratives that have been pushed, which are usually accurate for the most part when it comes to block. Now, one of the main things is a lot of people will say, oh, bronze anchor is just as good as gold anchor when it comes to getting stops in the paint, which is true. For the most part, when it comes to getting good hands up contests, you're going to get around the same level of contest regardless of what level you're anchored. However, that's not true when it comes to the make percentages. You might get a similar level of contest, but your make percentages with higher levels of anchor is going to be lower when you're defending those players. And not only that, but when it comes to getting crazy chase down blocks as well, or just getting better block animations in general, you are going to benefit by having a higher block rating. Now, does this mean I think you should go all the way up to a 99 block? Absolutely not. But I'm starting to think that maybe that 87 to 94 range might be something valuable on these type of builds. But as you can see, here is the build fully maxed out. Obviously, your speed, acceleration are going to be maxed out. You're going to get an 84 strength on this build, which is going to get you box out beast on gold, as well as immovable enforcer on silver. Now, some people might prefer to go all the way up to 90 strength to get a movable enforcer on gold, but with how little attributes I had left on this build while going for that high block rating, I just could not afford to get a movable enforcer on gold. And I'm not gonna lie, silver movable enforcer is starting to feel like the sweet spot when it comes to that badge anyways. All right, so now when coming out of the My Player Builder, you're going to get the shades of Bam Adebayo, Miles Turner, and Nicholas Claxton. And I am blind. That is not Bam Adebayo. That is Chris Bosh, Miami Heat legend. I saw the Heat logo and I thought it was Bam, but it's actually Chris. That's gonna be it for today's video, man. I'm out. Peace.